On like, hi, we are live, officially live now, which is fantastic. And I'm super excited to have Jen Mongeluzo here today on Wednesday's Wisdom, whatever you want to call it. And of course, I'm outside. So look who I have with
Ooh, the little bunny.
me.
Hello, Nugget. Oh, I'm so jealous of those kisses. I can't take it.
He goes, quit, I'm on camera, Mom. So today we're going to talk about Pilates, and we're going to talk about movement and the healthiness of the body. Jen, I know you are a master. If you said, hey, if you were talking to this Jen, and you were talking to me and you said, hey, can just 30 minutes on horses, go. I would be like, oh yeah. And I would just go, right? So, cause I'm a master at my craft as you are with yours. So I'm going to drop a little bomb on you. I know this much about Pilates. I have never done Pilates except that one time at band camp. And I know you're like, oh my gosh, I never wanted to admit that to you because, yeah, that's why. So, but here's the perfect opportunity for you to share like, what is Pilates, like what is it, how does it help you, what makes you good at it, and why is it important, especially if, like, for me, I want to be able to move with my horses. And one of the responsibilities of a horseman is to be able to have impeccable hands, feet, and seat, and be able to move and be where the horse needs you to be. So I'm like, all right, so now help me out. What is Pilates and why should I care?
Well, and here's it's funny because you mentioned everything and I was hoping you were going to say it, but it's really hard to know it, of course, if you're not in it. So you forgot balance, right?
Oh, hello. Everything with horses is about balance, but that's what I didn't know. Okay.
Exactly. So there you go. So the real definition of Pilates, unfortunately, is like about this long and like that far. But for me, I shortened it. Oh, hello. I keep seeing her face. Sorry. So I can't take it. You little nugget.
He said, I know. Oh, I poked you in the nose. I know.
Smush. Oh, can't wait to eat her face. Sorry, everyone. We get crazy.
No apologies necessary. It's a good distraction.
So for me, the shortened version, because I was like, I had to memorize it, of course, for my 3 certifications a million times years ago. So the shortened version for me is to rebalance the body. Okay. That is the goal in life for Pilates is to always rebalance your body.
Wow.
So, yeah, of course. I mean, it's simple, right? Think about it. So for me years ago, the reason why I started Pilates and when I got into it, I was injured in my 30s. I was a fitness instructor my whole life. I was teaching I want to say something insane, like 40 to 50 classes a week, and not privates. We're talking teaching, right? Back in the day when I lived in the city. I know, it was crazy. So I was at like every gym, I would take my rollerblades to each gym because that was the quickest way to get around to each gym. So I know, is that insane? So
that's crazy.
Right. And what happened to me one day, I was also a runner, a marathoner. And one day I woke up and I couldn't breathe. That's how bad my back pain was. It had never happened to me before.
What?
Never had back pain. I was crawling in my apartment. I think it was in New York City. Yeah. And I couldn't even, we didn't have cell phones. I don't think back then, right? We had did we have cell phones?
What year was this?
Shit.
Are we gonna date you a little? Was this back in the 1990s?
I'm not doing okay, wait. It was flip phone era. So I don't know how long ago that was.
Gotcha. Turn of the century.
Oh, sorry. So
no, it's all good.
All right.
We don't filter here.
So for me, first of all, it was very scary for me to have an injury like that,
Sure. As an athlete, stuff like that is terrifying.
I've had knee stuff, I had other stuff, you get sprained ankle, twisted ankle, whatever. This was no joke. Like I honestly, I was like, I paralyzed myself or I'm going paralyzed. I'm getting, I'm being paralyzed. So for me, it was very daunting, so what happened after that, I did, get to a doctor. So I went to everything across the board: orthopedic doctor, chiropractor, physical therapist, I went to surgeons across the board everywhere. So I had compression in all of my lumbar discs, all 5 of my discs, right,
Oh,
compressed, and it was a young age, I was in my early 30s. So back then, nobody heard about Pilates. Pilates
right.
didn't really exist back then.
Right. It was sort of
Now,
like for the woo-woo trend, like if that was like your thing.
correct.
Right. Because I'd heard of it,
Right.
but it wasn't like offered in gyms like it is now. And right.
Right. And I was used to teaching like, spin classes and like, step aerobics. And a really good friend of mine was actually teaching a Pilates mat class in one of the rooms, during our schedule, time. The times that I was in the gym with him, he was there. I can't take it. And I know, she's so sneaky. Naughty. And he was teaching class when I was teaching my spin class. Now, mind you, I was pointing. I was not doing any of my classes because I still couldn't do anything. My
Oh,
my back was,
wow.
nothing was working for me. Chiropractors were not working. Nothing helped me. And, I thought I was, anyways, let me get to this part first. So my really good friend kept saying to me, please take this class. Please take my mat class. You're crazy. I'm like, hell no. I would look in that class and I'm like, there's a bunch of old ladies in there breathing.
Right. That's what I thought about it too. I'm like, all I'm going to be doing is that boat pose thing.
And
And
breathing.
that was
Right.
yeah, no thanks.
So finally he talked me into it and I was in enough pain where I would have tried anything. If you told me to like,
Anything.
right, if you stick lemons on your, your whole body, I would have done it. So, right. So I was like, all right, fine. I'll take your damn class. Meanwhile, I go into his class and I lay down next to, I want to say, these women were in there. They were older than me back then, 40s, 50s.
Right.
They smoked my ass. Smoked me. I couldn't do one exercise. Okay. It was that hard. I actually couldn't believe it, but I will, I can't, I will say that, I will say this to you though. I made it through, even though everyone was making fun of me because these were ladies that were taking my spin classes too, right?
Oh,
Right.
No. You've got some
Right.
humble pie.
Correct. And let me tell you, and I actually I enjoyed the being humbled.
Sure,
It
sure.
was cool. So the next day, I woke up with absolutely no back pain, none. And I couldn't remember the last time I felt that good after a workout. Right.
Wow.
Because if you're not hurting and if you're not in pain back in the day, then you
No
wouldn't do
pain,
it
no
right.
gain. Right.
I bowed down to him for like a week after that. And I said to him, I don't care what you did. You sprinkled like fairy dust on me. What happened? He's like, Jen, you've never used your body this way. You're using your body properly. Now I thought I
Wow.
was strong as shit, 6-pack back then. I was like shredded, the whole thing.
Right.
So, but this was a whole
And you
different kind of,
still are, by the way. Let's not say, oh well, I move better, but I look like a tub of lard. No,
thank
you
you.
still look amazing.
Thank you. I love you. But like, back then I was running marathons, different. It was a
Right.
little
All the
different.
traditional stuff.
Right. Right. Yes. So that day, that very next day when I did wake up and I spoke to him, I'm like, I want all the information on the certification. I don't care where it is. I don't care how much it is. I'm going. Because I
Right.
could not, it was magical. It was crazy, how instant it was for
So
me.
what were some of the things that you were doing that were so different?
Well, the roll ups and roll downs, that alone.
What's
K-
a
Lay,
okay, so what's a
so
roll up?
laying down on the body, right?
Okay.
So you're laying on the grounds on your back.
Okay.
Your arms go up to the ceiling, and then
Okay.
you slowly roll your body all the way up to like a seated position,
Sounds
right?
sounds simple enough.
Yeah, right. Try it.
I'm scared.
So,
Right.
so I couldn't do it. It took me, I'd say, about a solid month until I could do a full roll up without holding on, without
Oh,
like, your feet underneath like the couch or something to hold your feet down so that they
sure.
don't come up while you're coming up,
Okay.
and I wasn't like a weeble finally.
I remember Weeboos?
Yes.
Weeboos wobble, but they don't fall
Don't fall
down.
down. Right. But so it was extremely challenging for me. And me, of course, the person that I am, and you know me well enough to know,
Oh,
you pre
yeah.
you present a challenge like that to me, especially physically, I'm all over it.
I'm on it. Right.
So I made it my life. The next day, I got the phone
Wow.
number, right, of the
Okay.
certification, and back then, nobody was teaching certifications really anywhere. No one knew what Pilates was. And I also
Mm.
didn't really know that there were machines involved until I really delved into it and researched it. I can't stand her.
I know.
Woo! And, I started this program. It was in Pound Ridge. I couldn't believe I found one. You know, it was local-ish for me,
Okay.
and it was the most difficult schooling I've ever been through. Back then,
Yeah,
you know,
this is like,
Pilates
no
are
wonder nobody tries Pilates because it's like, it sounds terrifying.
well, it's hard. It's hard. It's
Interesting.
hard.
Okay. So those
But
of you that are watching, this
yes.
Pilates is not easy. So if you think you're going to go to a Pilates class and like just like, sip your latte and do some shavasana, it's not, I guess it's not that.
Well,
Right.
and here's the thing, you also, you know, speaking of that, which I'm glad you brought that up, you know, it
Yeah.
took me 6 months to finish my certification because back then, like I
Okay.
said to you, it was no joke. And her
Right.
her little poof on the top of her head is
I
ridiculous.
know, right? I got to keep her hair out of her eyes.
So, it was basically going to school again, right? I was back in school.
Mhm.
And it was extremely my instructors, it was called Half Moon Pilates. It was the
Okay.
name of the schooling. They were no joke, you know, they don't they're like, you know how you teach?
Yes. Yes.
Same.
Okay,
You know
okay.
how I
And
am?
it's funny, okay, so for those of you that are watching, that when she says, you know how you teach when she's making the comparison, I'm sitting here in my brain going, well, my horsemanship before I was even able to touch a student was 7 years, and I was kind of like I got good fast. I got my 10,000 hours in less than 2.5 years because like you, I immersed myself in it. So when you start talking about these different modalities like Pilates or if you've ever watched or read the book The Inner Game of Tennis or the book Finite
Yes.
and Infinite Games,
Yes.
it really is that. It is an infinite game. Pilates sounds like horsemanship. It's this never-ending practice of how can I challenge myself to do hard things so I can move easy. Do
That's
do hard
right.
things so I can move easily.
Correct.
Does that sound fair? Is that a fair statement?
And that's exactly how you teach with your horses. It's the same
Mhm.
exact thing. We're just translating it into human bodies. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's okay. If it's easy, it's not gonna
It's
be
not gonna have an effect.
it's not gonna have an effect. It's not gonna work, and it's not gonna
Right.
stick. And it's not gonna stick.
Interesting.
Okay. So
Interesting.
right. I mean, and you and I both know, I mean, you know, hard stuff is any kind of hard thing we've ever been through in our lives, and every challenge we've ever been through has brought us to this beautiful
This
place
moment. That's right.
and this
You and I
moment.
both have been through a lot of challenges. And those of you that are watching, by the way, if you are on, please comment. We'd love to hear from you. If we don't know you, please introduce yourself. And if you are coming back, welcome back. I'd love to say hello. I forget to say that. I'm supposed to say that every one of my videos because it's really a great way to engage. But it is true. Like when you and I first met, it was like, learning about how there's so many parallels between what you're doing and what I'm doing. Just I'm just working with this nuggets only weighs about 275 pounds, but we're working with 1,000-pound animals that can go 45 miles an hour and actually seriously injure you if you aren't paying attention. But what I always say is prepare this much for this little, right?
Yeah.
Prepare, like, so what you're saying makes a lot of sense, and it sounds like there's a lot of parallels between the two modalities of healthfulness. Because the other thing too about horsemanship is it's not, it's not just sitting on the horse. They did a study with, and you can get
Test
get
it.
on board with this because, yeah, because They did a study where they were doing like the VO2 max and the heart rates of
Yes.
equestrians that are jumping and out there and moving, like actually riding their horses. I'm not talking about the low-de-do, walk down the trail, get along little doggy kind of riding. I'm talking about actually horsemanship and equestrian sport, right?
I was
And
going to
it's a
say that the sport.
yeah.
Yes.
And I don't, and when I say the sport, I say the
The
sport in,
equestrian
yes,
athlete.
because I don't consider myself an equestrian because I don't compete, but I consider myself a horseman that is an athlete because it takes 90% of your VO2 max, and your heart rate is, at 80 to 90% when you're riding at at these levels. I mean, I've been out there, and by the time I'm done, my adrenaline's going, my heart's pumping, everything is moving, and I have my watch on my iPhone, my watch is going bananas.
Right.
So this seems like the movement's different, but the intensity's the same. Is that
100%? 100%.
okay?
You're an equine athlete. Can we put it that way
Yeah,
instead?
yeah, absolutely. An equine
So,
athlete for sure.
right. And listen, I don't have to tell you this because you've been in your your craft for as long as I think I've been in my craft.
Yours for sure.
So unfortunately, though, what's out there and what has happened to my practice and your practice, I'm sure the same has happened. There's a lot of like, I want to call snake oil. All right. I'm just going to call it snake. Charlatan. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like the club. Well, I'm not supposed to say that. So all of these group Pilates places now that have opened up,
Right.
that they have like 15, 20 reformers. That's insane. Joseph Pilates, the man who created and invented it, would roll over in his grave if he saw this. I mean, and also you can now get certified because of this, because it's now commercialized, right? It's now that it wasn't commercialized back then. There was a whole lawsuit and a whole thing. It was very controlled back in the day. I'm not going to go into it because it's very boring. But then it was
not boring because because a lot of people that watch my lives are business owners, and we wanted to protect our brand,
right.
and I do that, make this comparison. Do you want to be a weed or do you want to be a bonsai tree?
Yeah.
The more control you have, or the more control you feel like you need to have on your business, the more it's like a bonsai tree, where you trim it and prune it, and it takes hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years to grow into this very, artful thing, right? Oh my God. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this little.
She's got her. Oh, I can't. That is not Pilates Tuesday.
That's
my
body. Not a pretty.
Don't put your arm on that. Don't put your arm back on that.
Why don't you move and I'll scratch your butt for you?
Oh my God, I can't take her. How is there nobody saying anything about this publicly?
They will when they watch. We'll get the comments. This is all right.
Oh, that's right. They're not watching it. Okay.
Yeah. Some people are live, some people watch later. So, but yeah, it's really important. But you don't want to be the weed either, where you just allow everything. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to scratch her butt the whole time.
That's okay.
I either gotta be feeding her bonbons or scratching her.
See, what I've been doing is this.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So I gotta scratch Tuesday's tail here. Oh my God, our animals, right? But you know what? And that's the thing. Why are we doing this? If you guys, for those of you that are listening, don't wait till you have 7 lumbar vertebrae that are compressed and are in so much pain to go see Jen.
Be proactive. Proactive.
Yes, be proactive. And
right.
I say that I had this woman come to my sound bath healing with the horses, and she's asking me these questions about how she should ride. And I go, look, honey, you need to learn horsemanship before you learn how to ride. People go and get on the backs of horses, and then they wonder why they have the hard time trotting, or they're learning the technique. And she's not on board. She wanted me to tell her how to sit the trot. And I'm like, you're not going to get that answer from me.
Yeah.
But the problem is that she's going to get it from somebody, and then she's going to end up getting hurt. She's about our age. And I'm not going to say
that's what I was just talking about, right? With the group Pilates, where you know how dangerous that is on one of those machines.
Yes.
So I'm sorry, honey, I interrupted
No,
you,
but
but
you're
yeah.
absolutely right. So it's not boring to say, hey, I'm going to protect my brand and I'm doing this as purely as I know how until I learn something better that is tried, true, and tested. And like a lot of people that come here know they are the guinea pigs a little bit, and they know they're going to be doing some interesting and explorations with the horses under under my facilitation, so they're safe,
Yeah.
so they don't have an injury, so they don't get hurt, so they don't get, have a negative experience with a horse. Because most people come to me just like you. You're like, my back is so much in pain. I'll put 100 lemons on my body. I don't care. And that's what happens a lot of times with the people that come to me. They've tried to figure out how to sit the trot and try to do the lessons and try to do the things and the stuff. And then they get bucked off because they didn't learn the things that I teach and people that are like experts in their field, like you, teach. And then they go, oh my God, I wish I had known this first. And I'm like, I've been telling you for 20
Yeah.
years. And it's almost like having Cassandra syndrome. You can't unknow what you know. And you're trying to tell these people you need to do this to prevent it. But people got to wait till they're in pain before they'll take action a lot of times.
Right. So it's basically, I'm just going to translate it so easily. Like people getting on my machines are like people getting on your horses.
Yes.
Mhm.
Perfect analogy.
So boom, there you go. But speaking of which, that is the safety part is such a huge thing for me. I know.
He's given
Oh.
up on annoying me.
Huh. And that's the thing. Like you have these people that are ready to like, do planks and stuff, and they can't even do a roll up. And so there are steps, honey. There's steps, there's
Yes.
always steps. So
And
when
I have
you,
something with this. I call it apps: ambition, patience, principles, sequence.
yeah,
You want to be able to do the 10-minute plank, or you want to have the 6-pack abs. You want to have the flexibility and the balance of movement. And when you get up, your back doesn't hurt and your knee doesn't hurt. And you don't have, all these aches and pains that you have to take Advil for every day. Right. That's the ambition, right? That's the goal, but you got to
well,
have patience. So, and once you understand the steps, the sequence, you can maintain the principles, can keep it pure, and go through those steps, and that will give you the patience to get to your whatever you're trying to achieve, for
right.
sure.
Well, and that's why it's very, it used to be like, look, I used to teach at Equinox, all these big gyms, and there was tons of people in like my mat classes and, my step classes and all this shit. And there was like, anywhere between 30 and like 40 people in these classes. And let me tell you something, if you're not a good trainer and an instructor and you don't have that background and that base, and someone gets hurt in your class, you get sued, who knows what can
Yeah.
happen? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Right.
my goal in life has really and truly been injury free prevention, all of that, right? So
Mm.
that's why these places, I get people from these big group Pilates studios, and they're injured and they're hurt, and they come to me to get to heal and to be
Right.
fixed. Because I will say this to you, I have taught big group Pilates classes on reformers, but I think I was up to 10 or 12 machines in my old studio. But this was me 20 years later. Of course, I'm going to, I'm almost at 30 years now. But
Yeah.
back then,
And
that
that's just
experience,
it,
well,
you can't. I see sometimes like one of somebody I really love it, his name is Buck Brannaman, and he's a master horseman. There's a great movie out there called Buck, and I watch some of his clinics, and I'm in there, and there are people on horses, and they're like, it is mayhem, but he's got this organized chaos about it that he
that's
knows what he's
right.
doing.
That's right. So,
Now,
and
I
then
don't choose to do that.
Right. So for me though, I will only take, I have up to 4 machines in my studio right now. And let me tell you something, that's it. Maybe one more, but I like to keep it very controlled. And also, I, there's, when you're throwing a beginner into a class with people who are intermediate and advanced, that's a challenge for you as an instructor,
Yep. Oh, yeah.
right? So you
That's
have
right.
to know your shit. And
Yes.
that is not something, when you have 3 different levels in a class, I don't have to tell you this. You have to know, and you have to modify 5 different things in one breath before the
Yes.
exercise. You know,
Yes.
so it's such a big challenge. And to
Yep.
know what kind of resistance this one needs compared to this one. And
Mhm.
making sure they don't do it on their knees, or if they do it in a plank, or blah, blah, blah. So
Right,
you
like having good form, right?
yeah, and you have to, well, and they can't do it. A lot of times they wouldn't be able to do it. They just physically can't, like that's why these group classes that people sign up for around here, and the stuff I've heard, and you have an instructor that just got certified, like with it. That's what I wanted to say before I forgot. Certifications now are BS. When it comes to Pilates, they don't even call it Pilates anymore because they can get away with it. So a lot of these studios don't even give the Pilates certification. They do their cert. And so
Mm,
these trainers, or whoever they are, they're getting certified in like a couple weekends or in a month.
right.
That's insane.
It's insane, and it's interesting too.
Insane.
That's insane, number
Wait,
one.
and they're teaching, don't, and mind you, they're teaching anywhere between 12 and 20 people on a reformer.
So let me ask you this. If you were like me, I've never done Pilates before, and you're up in New York and I'm here in Florida, what would you tell me? What advice would you give me if you're like, I wanted to try it next week?
100%, right? I would tell you, find a private Pilates studio that teaches private Pilates sessions one-on-one. Go through
Okay.
at least 10 private sessions, at least spend the money. If you're serious about it, if you want to heal, if you want to change your, for whatever, for aesthetics, for injury,
Who here
whatever.
just went, oh my God, I can't afford 10 private sessions of Pilates. I think I'll just try the free gym class just to see what it's about. Who here just did that? I
Right.
know my money brain, my money bucket brain just went there. But when you really think about what's important to you,
Health,
I will be
health.
50 this year. You no health, no life, man.
Thank you.
I'm just coming off a really bad case of COVID. I
Okay.
was laid out for 2 weeks, and I'm still like there. Like the other day, I was like, I wanted to go out and play with the horses, but my body was like, woof,
Yeah,
no,
you're
you're not.
tired. You're
Right. Yeah.
tired.
So the fatigue was hitting me. And I was like, oh my God, I can't operate my business. I can't take care of my horses. I can't. If you aren't taking care of yourself,
No,
Oprah says it, everybody says it. Every single guru on the planet says, take care of yourself.
you
So
can't
you
do anything. You can't do anything else
can't
if you
do
don't do that
anything if you
first.
cannot take care of yourself, right?
Hey man, my back injury, that meant all those years ago,
Yep.
and I was a fitness instructor. That was my livelihood. That's how I
Right.
made money. So yes. So
Yeah.
that was
And
it for me, man.
exactly. And if you are kind of floating through life and you're just having this sort of like, well, I really don't you're not taking it seriously, something is going to happen that will force you to take it seriously. Something will happen. I don't know what that is. I don't have and but something will. Gabor Mate writes a really great book called When the Body Says No. And he talks about things like autoimmune disease, Parkinson's, MS, a rheumatoid arthritis. When you are doing something that takes your body out of homeostasis, out of balance, and out of what it could be for your health and fitness, your body dumps cortisol or adrenaline or something, and you get a
Cortisol.
mass on your spleen, and you wonder where, I have this mass on my spleen. I don't know where that came from, and then you want to treat it medically. Okay, take care of the mass. Well, it's going to show up something else. It's like whack-a-mole. You're not going to get there unless you address the root of the problem. And it's the same with horsemanship. And when people ask me, well, how is this, how are horses about relationships? Well, shit, horses are, your relationship with a horse is relationship with wealth, because you got to figure out how to pay for these guys first off. But your
Yeah.
relationship with yourself, with others. And when you are talking about your relationship with self, I'm doing my self-discovery challenge next week. It is all about knowing who you are. And when you start knowing who you are, you can understand, like, go take 10. Okay, so there it is. If I want to try Pilates, I will do the free intro session and sign up for 9 more, right? And do it. And that's the same thing I would go so far to say with yoga. When you just walk into a yoga class and they're like barking out asanas unless you know it and just kind of learn trial by fire. It's like playing a board game without reading the rules. You just open up the stuff, you get the pieces out, and you kind of make it up as you go along. And you have someone that's telling you no, that knows how the rules as your instructor. But why not go to someone like you, or go to like an immersive experience? Like you have a retreat coming up
Yes.
with the
Same.
horses. I want to talk about that before
Mhm.
we hop off, because it's so important. Every aspect. I'm like excited. I want to go take a Pilates class now, and not a class. I want to go to an instructor. So, and I think that if you find like those, how do you find, okay, so let me ask you this. How do you know you have a good Pilates instructor? How do you know?
Well, that's a good question. A very good question. So, I mean, I know all the respected certifications that are out there. You have Stott Pilates, you have Peak Pilates. There's a lot of, I mean, those are my top two. So they're very well respected. They've been around forever.
Okay.
Um,
So,
so I'm
so find someone that has some certifications, perhaps.
right. And you
Okay.
also need somebody who has had at least 5 years under their belt, at least.
As an instructor.
Yes, if you
Okay.
want to really learn, because I'm telling you, you brought up the whole injury thing about not, or, like not being able to afford, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you, if once you do get stronger and better, then you're not spending money on drugs, doctors,
Mm.
PT, or all the extra stuff that you have to spend on, injury, helping your injury, right? It'll take you out of work, you lose money from that. So I'm just saying it really helps you save money in the long run.
In the
Believe
long run, yeah, but you have to put yourself in that position to go, oh, I
Right.
can save money by doing this. Gotcha.
Great.
Interesting stuff. And I'm gonna post in the comments your retreat that you have coming up
Thank you.
in New York. It's up in Hudson Valley area. So if you're watching this and you want to come and check this out, you can go to, I just posted it in the comments where you can go and see what this is all about. Where she's going to be actually doing Pilates, and then they're going to be doing horsemanship as well. And I live in equestrian Mecca. I live in Wellington, Florida. And so I have like horses everywhere. So I think that when you come down to do my retreat, we should, hawk you out to some of these equestrians around here and set up a workshop and do something here too, because what you're saying is very exciting. And when you see these athletes, these like literal equestrian
Yep.
athletes, they have to move in a healthy way. They have to be able to, they have the equestrians main goal is to get out of the horse's way.
Yep.
That's it. And in order to do that, they need to be able to know how to move at high speeds, go up, go down, go left, go right, like in conjunction with another being. It's like ice skating with horses. It's crazy to see how the movement works. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I had a student who was an equestrian. So
Okay.
equestrians, there are a lot of equestrians who do Pilates, believe it or not, a
I
lot.
do believe it. It's a
Okay.
thing.
And think about this as well. Posture, right? Posture on
Mm,
a horse is so important.
yes.
I can't
So the
tell you.
horse is back.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. And also to be able to sit upright and not sink down, and protect your back. Because let me tell you
Right.
something, that compression and that compaction on top of a horse, if
Yep.
you're not in proper alignment, that injury,
It
injury
is,
is like
and it'll
some
be an injury for you, and
waiting to happen.
it'll be harder work for the horse,
Right.
honestly speaking. Like, at the end
Yeah.
of the day, you know, uh, if you're really out there for the horse, then, go check out this retreat that Jen is doing. She's doing it with, my horse sister, Daniela, up in Hudson Valley area, up in Chester, New York, at her ranch or her farm there. I guess ranch, farm, whatever. Oh, look, we have everybody.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, where's my boyfriend?
yeah.
Where's
Oh, there's Dante
Ooh.
and Bella.
Oh, look at how beautiful that is.
Yeah, isn't this gorgeous? So,
Yeah.
so we're going to be doing some stuff down here this fall, perhaps, but
Yep.
definitely check out what Jen's doing. If you're interested in learning about Pilates, like I'm curious as to Now I'm curious. I want to know more about like what a reformer is. I want to know more about it. So if you're curious and want to know more, just drop a comment here or drop me a DM and I can connect you with Jen. She's a master at her craft and we're super grateful that she's had the opportunity to share some of her insights about like how it now you're about how it healed her back. You know, there's so much healing that you can experience through these non-medical modalities. You know, so many people go straight to the doctor, and what's the doctor trained to do? I'm not blaming the doctor. I'm just saying, what's he trained to do? He's trained to fix the problem, right? They Hospital food is shit. You know what diet? They don't ever ask you. My mom's doctor told her to eat potato chips because her blood pressure was low, so she could get salt. Well, you know what, dude? She's 100 pounds overweight. Not a good idea. Right, exactly. We're all like scratching our head on that one. But that's what's happening is that we're treating the symptoms instead of the root cause. And when you can do this in a way oh, by the way, gives you a fucking rockin' body. You know, I want a six pack abs. I want nice, good, arm and upper
Those
body.
are definitely the benefits. Those are the benefits.
Yes. Like, and if that's your motive, great. We don't care what the motive is because the ends justifies the means.
Right.
Because Pilates is something that I obviously am going to check into more. I've never done it. And actually I almost want to wait till you get here, but we won't wait that long. I'll get to somebody here. And who knows where spaghetti grows because my business brain is kicking now. But
I know it is. I
thank
can
you for
see it.
sharing your insights about this. And you're obviously very passionate about it. And I really appreciate you saying that it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. But those of you out there that are watching, if you're a fan of mine and you're one of my followers, then you like to do hard things because that's what me too, baby. Me too. Because I have a lot coming up this fall and 2025. I'm already planning my 2025, man. July 1st is when I start looking at next year. So if you want to get on my books and you want to get down here and work with the horses, reach out to me. If you want to get involved with really moving your body in a healthy, balanced way, talk to Jen. And what if you were to leave our viewers with one last thing? What would be what would be one piece of advice you could give these guys to say, Pilates is
honestly, well, I mean, not so much Pilates, but yes, Pilates. Movement every day, people. It doesn't matter if it's like 10 minutes, an hour, find yourself movement. I don't care what it is, walking, stretching, doing core work, movement every single day. Because just recently, I had an injury. Now, for me, my injuries, I have literally healed all of my injuries in my Pilates studio. I have never gone and I need a double knee replacement and I still run. And it's a little cuckoo, but I'm not the runner the way I used to be, but I still can.
Right.
So my gig is always movement every day.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Don't use it, you lose it 100%.
Yeah.
I got you.
Right.
Well, that's actually probably the best advice, especially for somebody like me who just came out of like solid 2 weeks of out. I don't get laid out like that. That probably won't happen again for the rest of my life.
Good.
I've been that sick since I had chicken pox when I was like 6. Right. It was so now like it's sort of like I feel a little groggy and so if you haven't been moving and you have an office job or you have a sedentary type of lifestyle and you're a little bit of a couch potato, that 10 minutes just setting it up and intentionally moving your body is going to be the first step down the yellow brick road to something amazing where you start realizing you are capable of way more than you ever thought possible. And Jen is a huge inspiration to me to get out there and move my body.
And to leave you off with it. And then the 10 minutes turns into 15 minutes and then it turns into 20 minutes because you start feeling better and you can do more. So there you go. Right.
And those people are like, well, if it turns into an hour, that's an hour of my day. I'm not doing work. Okay. You guys, when you feel good and
Yeah.
you feel healthy and you're excited and you're high energy, oh, you gotta give
Oh,
it a
best way to end
Sunday.
it. Oh
What's
my
up, buddy?
God. Oh my beautiful boyfriends. Oh,
I'm gonna go check out. He's like, yeah, he's just up on the patio here. Check it out.
oh my goodness. I love that he just made an appearance. You have no idea. My
He had
boy.
to have his cameo in. Come here, buddy. You come here. I got a carrot. I give you a
Oh.
carrot.
Hi, Dante, my boy. Oh, you are so gorgeous, you sexy beast.
Well, you
I
guys
can't wait to smush him.
And
Oh, does
he's
he
like,
smell
yes.
so good?
Oh, I
Sniff.
know. He does. He smells amazing. All right. I
Ugh.
got some carrots. So if you want to be, I know, right? Ending on Dante has the grand finale here. So, all right. Oh my God. I'm just gonna dump them out on the floor. It's like the pinata.
I love that he just
We
showed
should
up.
make a carrot pinata for the horses.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah, and
All
then they
right.
could like,
Well, boys and girls, my clients, they just rolled up, believe it or
yes, me
not.
too. I gotta run, but we've got the little one here trying to eat the bag, and the big one here trying to help me out. So I'm gonna get off, and he's stopping me with my
Your
run
machines, just so you know, your machines are better than mine, I have to be honest.
button. They definitely are more opinionated. I definitely have a personality.
Oh,
So you guys have an amazing rest of your Wednesday.
thank you,
Reach
my
out to us
love.
if you're interested in horses or Pilates, and check out the retreat for this fall. Thanks for tuning in, Jen, and we'll see you next time. Bye.